Alright everyone, so this video is a follow-up to my most viewed video. I noticed in the comment section a lot of people were asking this question, so I'm going to answer in this video. So, what happened to the balls of the Chinese eunuchs after their surgery? That is a great question. So, the answer might shock you. Let's get started. One thing I want to clarify. The Chinese castration procedure was much more brutal versus what they did in Italy, in the Byzantine Empire, and also in the Ottoman Empire. So the Chinese castration in the ancient China removed both the testicles and the penis. And this happened to tens of millions of Chinese men for over 2,000 years. It is absolutely brutal in every way, shape, and form possible. After the surgery, the eunuchs will never reach sexual climax for the rest of their lives. Ladies, both men and women were brutally oppressed throughout history. We need to have a sympathy and understanding for each other. Please understand this. So what happens is the penis and the testicles is actually given back to the eunuchs after surgery. There's something called the ball, which is a container. There's a picture on the right. So it roughly translates to the three preciouses. I think all of you guys know what the three items are. And it is attached usually with a red label with the name of the eunuchs on it. Now, for the eunuchs, they need this ball, this treasure, this precious item for when they're giving the chance for a promotion inside the Forbidden City. And believe it or not, in some instances, the eunuchs, they will actually lose their ball. But sometimes inside the Forbidden City, they allow the eunuchs to purchase or rent another ball. I know it sounds pretty insane. Ancient China was a pretty wild place to be alive, to say the least. Now the eunuchs, they could be promoted to very powerful positions because I wonder if they was a pronoun back in ancient China. Well, that's for a separate video. Because they could not reproduce, so the power and wealth was eventually, inevitably given back to the royal family. And for this reason, some eunuchs received very powerful positions alongside the royal family. And for anybody wondering how did the eunuchs pee, well, they have to squat. This is why some ancient Chinese bathrooms look like this. There's a picture there on the right. So what's the daily tasks of a typical eunuch? Well, they're basically jack of all trades. They could do pretty much everything. Some could become educators, caregivers, gardener chef, taking care of the concubines, taking care of the royal family members, cooking, cleaning, construction, theatrical performance. They did everything. And remember, China had so many of them. During the Ming Dynasty, China's second last dynasty, there was over 1 million eunuchs. So yeah, they pretty much did everything. And during the Qing Dynasty, China's very final dynasty, the eunuchs they were divided into 48 divisions, each with various tasks. I will discuss one very specific task, which I find very interesting in my next video. And yes, the eunuchs were paid. The salary for a Chinese eunuch adjusted for 2020 inflation levels, so it ranges between roughly 50 to 300 US dollars a month during the Qing Dynasty era. Eunuchs were often abused and discriminated against regularly inside the Forbidden City for obvious reasons. Severe punishments were imposed for any eunuchs breaking the rules. Most common one was anywhere between 50 to 100 hits to the back by a Chinese bamboo stick. Trust me, it might sound silly. Those bamboo sticks are very strong and they're very hard. The hits will definitely break your back. Sometimes the eunuchs following the punishment will have to take months off of duty from the injuries. At the end of a eunuch's life, he is buried alongside of his ball of three preciouses for one last bit of dignity at the end of his life. Many eunuchs they request this as their final wish because they believe that being buried alongside with their genitals will restore their masculinity in the afterlife, thus making themselves whole again so they don't bring shame to their family in the afterlife. It is also widely believed that back in ancient China, so if a man met the king of the underworld, the Junwang, without his genitals, he would be cursed and turned into a female donkey and enslaved in hell for all of eternity. May the souls of tens of millions of eunuchs in China finally rest in peace now. This practice finally ended following the collapse of the Qing Dynasty. I will also discuss China's final emperor Puyi in a separate long format video. Very interesting character. China's final eunuch passed away in 1996. I did a very short video covering him. I hope this practice is never brought back again. It is the definition of evil, and crime against humanity. Although, I think a lot of people in the West today seem to have taken interest in this matter in recent years. Something to think about. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope you all have a great week ahead. Bye bye.